to give me all your details, all your secrets, but I'm curious how you, as a narrative director, as a writer, what is the project that you're going in when you need to create a new character? Do you like influence? You're taking a look into Campbell's archetypes, Jung's archetypes, then looking at the current situation in the world to create a new character, or how's this process is going?
Well, it depends on what the project is. So,
All right.
some ideas come to me in a dream, and I'm like, oh, hey, like High Moon came to me in a dream. And I was like, I have this great idea for a title. It's called High Moon. It's a werewolf Western. I had nothing else. I had nothing else. I had no characters. I had nothing. So then I thought to myself, like, okay, well, I've got an idea. I don't really like cowboy stories or Western stories, but let me see if I can find some that I do like. And then I tried and I went through and I did a bunch of research and eventually found, okay, I like this archetype, but what is it that I'm going to make him cool with? And so I was like, I kind of liked Blade Runner. Blade Runner was cool. Blade Runner was a detective story. This guy's going to be a detective in the Old West. I like Blade Runner. Blade Runner's a great detective. I like Westerns like Gunsmoke. I'm going to kind of combine Blade Runner and Gunsmoke together, and I'm going to get this character. You know, is he a werewolf? Who knows? He got some weird powers? Maybe. But I was able to play with that. I was able to take the things that I liked, identify what I liked about them, because that's the important thing. High Moon is might look like other things, but it's totally its own because even I was able to say this isn't The Office meets The Matrix. It's its own thing. It's not Blade Runner meets Gunsmoke. It's I'm taking aspects I like of Blade Runner, which is this unreliable narrator. I'm taking aspects I love of westerns, which is raw and gritty, authenticity, and really, really sort of gruff and savage. I'm taking those elements and I'm putting them together, and then I built a story around the main character. So if you've got a main character who's super quiet, you're going to need somebody to deliver exposition to him. So you're going to need a sidekick character. It's why so often Batman works well with Robin, or Captain America before Bucky was a thing. Like Captain America always works well with Bucky, or Wolverine works well with Jubilee. Giving giving main characters sort of point of view characters is really important because those point of view characters help deliver exposition to readers in a way that you wouldn't naturally get them. It's why character. So whenever you see like a loner character, like in the '80s, Punisher was cool, but Punisher had a sidekick. It's why you see like shows like the CW shows, like Arrow or the Flash, always have a man in the chair. A man in the chair is an archetype because it gives the viewer exposition. So I was like, well, if I'm doing High Moon, I need a character. If I'm going to have a gruff, silent character, I need a character that delivers the exposition and the dialogue about what's happening. And so I created a character like that. And then you build around that. You sort of create foils. After you know who your main character is, bid you create foils and build foils, characters that are reflective of the opposite traits of your main character.
Hmm.
So you've got a really talkative. It's why like Deadpool and Wolverine work, right? Deadpool's really talkative, but Wolverine's really silent. You know, so you get that odd couple, and that's a really good pairing. So whether it's the Flash or whether it's Ned Leeds in Spider-Man's ear and Spider-Man No Way Home, um, all those things are. It's even in the Iron Man movies, right? Iron Man is talking to Jarvis. Iron Man isn't by himself; he's
Right.
always talking to somebody, and that somebody gives the player information, and thereby gives the reader information. Even with a lot of the games we're playing, um, whether it's Portal, like even in Portal, where you've got your companion cube, GLaDOS is your talking computer, and she's giving
Yes.
you information, but she's also an unreliable protagonist slash antagonist because she's like, stop, there will not be cake, if you do not do this, but it's how we ask ourselves, how are the viewers getting the information that the player is learning, so often you'll see like even in like things like Murder She Wrote or Mrs. Marple, there's always a side character that is like Miss Jessica Fletcher's niece or whatever, that sort of act. Even with Sherlock Holmes, Sherlock Holmes is a great example. Watson is always there for Sherlock Holmes to bounce ideas
Yeah.
off of. So I always start with that. I always start with this opportunity to build the characters around the idea. Um, so that to me is what's really critical. Is that if people don't see themselves in the character, you've kind of failed. Like I need to be able. The screen is a way and a mirror, whether it's the television screen or your phone screen or your computer screen. The screen is a mirror, and I need to, when I'm playing the game, see myself in the themes that are reflected back at me. I need to see characters more like me in the work that I'm doing. It's why there's so much call for diversity, is because we want to sort of lower the barrier to entry, so more people will be playing games because they see more of themselves in the games that they're playing. Like I don't particularly identify with Batman. I know a lot of people love Batman. I don't particularly care for Batman because I'm not rich. I've never been rich. I will never be a billionaire. My parents are still alive, thankfully. I don't see myself in Batman as a character. I just don't. He's mean. I'm not mean. I try not to be. Do I see myself in Superman? Much more so because I when I was younger, like I grew up in the country, like Superman did, like in the rural farmland. So like, and a lot of the values that he learned are values that I learned. I don't have a butler driving me everywhere, but have I worked on a farm? Absolutely. And so like for me, and he was a journalist and I was a journalist, like, so for me, like there are characters that I see myself in and characters that I don't. Um, and that to me is what's really important. Like I didn't really care for Green Lantern, but when I realized that Green Lantern were basically outer space cops, writing Green Lantern became much easier because I worked for the NYPD and I knew what cops experienced.
All right.
So I'm always looking for that thing that thing, like in the Own Living Boy, the theme is about how we overcome loneliness, and in High Moon, the theme is how do we overcome change, and the theme in Green Lantern is how do we overcome fear of ourselves. How often is fear keeping you from getting what you want? And what is it that incites change within ourselves? So I'm always looking at characters, I'm looking at themes, and then I'm looking at um, what are the cool places we can go from there. So like give me some locations and then I build locations. I'm like, it'd be really cool is if there was a giant flying insect city that and there was a massive I'm so excited I knocked my phone up on the microphone. There's a giant insect city, so what if there's a giant insect city that they're all flooding? And what if there's a cool like underground river? Okay, great. Like underground city made of like seashells and stuff. Okay, great. Now, what if there's a giant unseen city run by humanoid elephants? How cool would that be? So like I'm always thinking about like what a new location will also reveal about a character. So like if I take Green Lantern and I put him in throw him in the middle of a black hole, what will it do to him? If I take Superman and put him on a red sun where he has no power, it's like what will it do? So I'm always looking at how the environment creates adversity and how that adversity uh, fuels and drives character change and puts them outside of their comfort zone so they're doing things that sort of establish more of who they are. What are their core values and how are their core values challenged when they're put in situations that literally have them fighting for their own survival? And then I tell the story around that. What are they going to lose? What are they going to gain? What do the characters in the game think that they want? What do they actually get? And that to me is what's really important. I think about Indiana
With
Jones, right?
all their ups and downs. Yeah.
Right. I think about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, right? So Indiana Jones, have you seen it? Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. It's got Sean
Yes, of
Connery.
course.
So
Of
Indiana
course.
Jones and the Last Crusade is they're on a quest for a Holy Grail. And what you think that
Yep.
Indiana Jones wants is the Holy Grail. So that's what he wants. Does he get the Holy Grail? Yes, but what he actually gets is a better relationship with his father.
Right. Always a hidden story which weighs more than
Right.
like just a physical
Right.
item.
right, he gets an intangible reward. His reward is a better relationship with his dad. And that to me is what's great about that story is the heroes shouldn't get what they want, they should get what they deserve. And what they deserve
Yeah.
is beyond what that object is. In the
And
Maltese
you
Falcon,
also define what they deserve, right?
right, you just yes, by their decisions and by their choices. And so what they deserve is based on the themes of the story. So what is it that they deserve to win or lose the object of their desire? Was it that so
Mm.
Lex Luthor, if Lex Luthor is the hero of his own story, right? So let's tell the Superman story from the first Superman movie. Let's not tell it from Superman's point of view. Let's tell it from Lex Luthor's point of view. Lex Luthor is a real estate mogul. He wants to have beachfront property. But then this guy, this Superman guy, an alien from another world, is telling me, the richest man on earth, how to spend my money and what to do. Well, I'm going to tell him, I'm going to show him what's for. I'm going to give him some kryptonite, and then I'm going to blow up. I'm going to blow up these things. Well, Lex Luthor's biggest problem, his biggest thing, is that he doesn't radiate trust. He doesn't trust people, and he is willing to sacrifice so many people in order to get what he wants, which is beachfront property. Which means he is willing to sacrifice Eve Tessmacher's mom. Like, oh, this is going to go blow up Hackensack. Well, my mom lives in Hackensack. He's like, tough. She's got an hour to get out, but he is willing to put other people's lives on the line and his subordinates' lives on the line in order to get what he wants. And that breach of trust is ultimately what dooms Lex Luthor's plans,
Yeah.
So he doesn't get what he wants because he's willing to throw other people in the way in order to, like, he's willing to, he has so much ambition that he's not willing to stop to think of the consequences, and that's why he loses, because he puts the needs of himself before the needs of others. Superman wins because he puts the needs of others before the needs of himself, and that's why Lex Luthor loses. So people get what they they don't always get what they want, but they always get what they deserve.
Interesting.
And
Now,
that's at
you
least,
as a
go ahead.
yeah,
That's how I like to tell the
yeah,
story.
no, no,
That's how I like to tell the
that
story.
that's
So that,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah. So that's, have you earned it? That's what I get to the story. Did you earn a happy ending? Yes or no? Did you as the characters earn a happy ending? Yes. Why or why not?
How do you
Because,
define that?
right, exactly. And how do I, as the author, define it? And in a video game, how do the choices that you make, if I'm giving you agency to control the character, how do the choices you make determine whether or not you get a good ending or a bad ending?
Yeah.
You know?
And it's a great example for me. Like the top one example that comes to my mind is like Witcher 3,
Yeah.
where
Witcher
based on
3.
your choices, you get the three different endings.
Yeah. One of my favorite games with that same sort of mechanic is Spider-Man Web of Shadows. Because it's a Spider-Man game.
Right.
It came
Yeah.
came about 10 years, 15 years ago. But you can wear the black costume or you can wear the red and blue costume. And the red and blue costume, you make your choices and you do right things, you get right ending. And if you make the wrong choices and do some of the wrong things, you get a bad, destructive ending with Peter Parker being like the criminal emperor of New York. So those are all interesting things. And for me, they make a huge difference in the sort of the stories that we're telling and why we're telling them.
Mhm.
And I have themes that radiate with me. Um, and I have themes that radiate with me, themes of redemption, themes of overcoming adversity, overcoming yourself, about the importance of community versus the individual. Like, I have a lot of themes that resonate with me, and themes that I'd like to propagate throughout my work. And sometimes sometimes that works really, really well and resonates with a lot of readers, and sometimes some people have criticisms about how I do it, because I do like to kill my characters off a lot. But because yeah, but at the same time, like, um, I want I want readers to, when they're done playing a game or done reading a book, I want them to put it down and be really happy with the quality of the story they've got, even if they don't necessarily like the ending. But um, my job is to earn the reader's trust and show them why we've made the choices we made.